If the ringing in your ears feels louder in quiet moments, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to explain, because what you're experiencing may not be random, and it may not be just your ears. For many people, tinnitus doesn't start loud. It starts small, almost unnoticeable. A faint tone at night, a light buzz after a stressful day, something easy to ignore until it isn't. At first, you tell yourself it will pass. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's fatigue, maybe you just need sleep. But then something changes. The silence makes it louder. When the TV turns off, it's there. When the room gets quiet, it's there. When you lie down at night, it feels even stronger. And that's when the worry begins, because silence is supposed to be peaceful, not amplified, not sharp, not intrusive. Most people believe this means their ears are getting worse. But what if the real issue isn't in the ear itself? What if the sound feels louder in silence because your brain is increasing its sensitivity? Here's what many people never hear. Your brain is constantly scanning for sound, even when there isn't any. When external sound decreases, the auditory system doesn't simply shut down, it adjusts. And in some cases, it turns up internal gain, like increasing the volume on a speaker trying to detect a weak signal. If certain neural pathways have become overly responsive, the brain may begin amplifying internal electrical activity, signals that were always there but were never meant to reach conscious awareness. That's why the ringing often feels louder in quiet environments, not because silence creates it, but because nothing is masking what the brain is already amplifying. Now here's where it becomes important. The brain learns through repetition. The more a signal repeats, the more stable it becomes. The more stable it becomes, the more automatic it feels. What once appeared occasionally can slowly become constant. And when the sound becomes constant, attention locks onto it. You start checking for it, listening for it, measuring it. And attention itself can strengthen neural patterns. Stress adds fuel to the cycle. Lack of sleep increases sensitivity. Anxiety heightens awareness. Ringing creates stress. Stress increases amplification. Amplification makes the ringing feel louder, and the loop continues. This is why many temporary solutions only help for a short time. White noise can cover it, music can distract from it, but once the environment becomes quiet again, the internal signal remains, because the source may not be external, it may be neurological. Some research connected to major institutions has explored how the auditory cortex can become hyperactive in certain individuals, especially after prolonged stress, exposure to loud sound, or neural imbalance. In earlier stages, these pathways may still be adaptable, flexible, responsive to change, but as repetition continues, the pattern can become more fixed, which is why waiting and hoping it fades on its own may not always work. Over time, the brain may treat the signal as normal input, and once something becomes normalized, it requires a different approach to reduce it. Now think about how this affects daily life. Sleep becomes lighter, silence becomes uncomfortable. Moments that used to feel peaceful now feel tense. You may find yourself avoiding quiet rooms, keeping background noise on at night, constantly wondering if it's getting worse. That constant awareness keeps the brain engaged with the signal, and engagement reinforces it. But here's the part most people find encouraging. The brain is adaptable. The same plasticity that strengthens the ringing can also weaken it. When the internal environment supporting auditory signaling becomes more balanced, when overstimulation is reduced, when neural calmness improves, the amplification may decrease. And when amplification decreases, the ringing often fades into the background, not because it was attacked directly, but because the conditions that were feeding it were addressed. This is why some people focus less on masking the sound and more on supporting the brain's auditory processing system itself. Understanding what is happening internally changes how you approach it. If you're still listening, it's likely because this feels familiar. Maybe the ringing has been slowly becoming more present. Maybe silence feels different now. Maybe you're concerned about where this is heading. There is a full presentation that explains this mechanism in much more detail. It breaks down why the brain amplifies internal sound, why silence makes it feel louder, why repetition can lock the pattern in, and what some people are doing to support healthier auditory balance instead of just covering the noise. This short video can't go into everything, but the full explanation connects the dots clearly and step by step. If you want to understand what may actually be happening inside your brain and why the ringing behaves the way it does, watch the full explanation carefully. The link is in the description below. Don't rush through it. The most important explanation comes later when the underlying mechanism becomes clear. You don't have to accept constant ringing as something that will only get worse, but ignoring it and hoping it disappears may not be the best strategy either. Your brain is adapting every day. The only question is it learning to amplify the ringing, or is it being guided back toward balance? Watch the full explanation and decide what makes sense for you before more time passes.